Let me say this. Hello, Teams Nation. We are live in person at Enterprise Connect.
Hang on, first time ever together.
First time ever. I met this gentleman over here on my right for the first time ever. He is a giant, not only in Teams, but also in person.
Come on. Hang on, let the zoom out. We're all in.
So
That's going to make us all the same height.
But it's all going to make us the same height.
gonna make
Nobody
us the
can
same
tell
height.
exactly what it is.
Here, how about this? How about this?
Yeah.
There you go.
So you can see how tall he is. So welcome everybody to Teams Nation. Welcome everybody to the MTDAMA. If you're new and you don't know us, my name is Jimmy Vaughn. This is Graham Walsh and Michael Tressler. We go ahead and we host this every single month. And what we do is we try to bring together the community of devices and bring everybody together to talk about devices and have an honest sort of technical discussion and deep dive into everything that's Teams rooms and Teams devices. This month, we're going to talk about a whole bunch. If you did go ahead and you looked at Enterprise Connect, there's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. There is a disclaimer that we put up. I work for Microsoft. Anything that we do here, Michael works for Microsoft. Graham works for an OEM. Anything that we do here does not represent our company, but we are here on behalf of the community to sort of help and have discussions and open discussions. It's a casual event. I'm going to sort of say to Graham, let's monitor chat because I can't see it on the board right now, but let's monitor chat. If you do have a question, put it in the chat. We'll ask you to come off mute. Let's have a conversation and go ahead. But overall, let's be considerate of everybody and just have a good time.
Yeah, this is a monthly event. We host it on Teams every month. On third Thursday, Tuesday, Monday.
Try to do it the same Thursdays.
So we moved it this week to be at Enterprise Connect and to be at Teams Nation, which is great. So we are on episode 24, and we are going to cover a lot of the latest announcements from here. And what we've got coming up is let's have a quick look at the agenda, what we're going to talk about. We talked about a lot of stuff last month. All the information is on Graham-Walsh/MTDAMA. I'll put a link in the chat in a second. But let's dive into what's happened this month.
5 years old. I think I can say for everybody, we now have a toddler. We have a toddler. Microsoft is 5 years old. If you think back to what we were doing,
Microsoft is 5 years old.
well, Microsoft Teams is 5
Bill
years
Gates
old,
has a question.
right?
Hey, Bill Gates would like to say something.
5 years. How far have we come? I mean, what we have going on right here. 5 years. 5 years is where we are. It's unbelievable how much Teams has grown. And if you think about where this is going and some of the things that were actually announced at Enterprise Connect this week, you can see in the next 5 years. Mobile operator, huge announcement.
Operator
Teams
Connect,
Operator Connect.
Yeah.
Teams companion mode for Microsoft Teams rooms. Huge announcement. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's coming. 5 years is a great time. Graham's taking the things. I'm sure he's posting on social while I'm talking here. But yeah, 5 years old. My favorite feature of Teams that I've had recently is actually exactly what we sort of do here. Hand off from one device to another. Proximity join and handing off and just that seamless transfer. I remember back in the Skype days when I had the problem of I was in my car and I was on a phone call and then I had to go into the office and I had to do things. That is now something that's of the past.
So Jimmy, my favorite feature is about 2 years old. Mute conversation, so I can just ignore you two.
Exactly.
That's my favorite.
Right?
Mute conversation. If you don't use it,
So what's been new this month? Lots of new articles, courtesy of Michael and team.
so this one, if I may,
Yeah.
Lothar Zeidler is a senior program manager on the Intune team. I think he's German, lives in Switzerland, but was staying in Munich at the time. So I'm confused where he's from exactly. Let's just say he's Swiss. On his own, he started writing this article about rolling Microsoft Teams for Windows, Teams rooms for Windows into Intune. And we at Microsoft haven't done a great job documenting all this. He just did it on his own. He got in touch with me, so I helped edit this article. A couple other people helped edit this article. So we now have a fairly definitive article on how to do this. And if those of you know, I do a lot of YouTube videos. I'm going to meet with Lothar here in a few weeks, and we're going to do a video. So if you'd rather watch the movie than read the book, we're going to produce the movie here in a few weeks. So
Good documentation.
Yeah, if you're with Teams Rooms on Windows, it also gets the first time anybody at Microsoft regarding Teams Rooms on Windows has talked about using Windows Configuration Designer and what that can give you to help automate the rollout bulk deployment. So excellent article. And did you put the link into the chat? If not-
Yeah, links in the chat. It's PowerPoint Live, so you should be able to click on it as well. The
We
link
always
is there.
talk about the idea, you've got these Teams rooms on Windows, and nobody's really putting in one room. Everybody's putting in these multiple rooms. And how do I scale it? How do I get to the 100? How do I get to the 200? And this is a great starting point for anybody who hasn't done that or hasn't been through that environment yet, to sort of see some of the options that are available. And like you said, Michael, it's great that we've got the documentation to sort of make something official that we can hand out.
And speaking of documentation, if you guys have not noticed, so I'll be the first to admit, even though it's not my deal, Docs has not been great over the last 3 years for Teams rooms on Windows. We've made Docs great again, and we're continuing to do so. So if you haven't been there in a little while, you can go to aka.ms/mtrdocs. We've reorganized, and in this article I rewrote. We've killed 6 articles and put them into one. You would think, boy, does this make it more confusing? Look at it, there's tabs. We've laid it out as best we can, simple flow. But we killed 6 articles because I couldn't tell some of the articles we had, why did they exist, or how is it different than this other article? So hopefully this is one of many things you'll notice over the next few months. There's a lot of new guidance, updated guidance. For example, we now recommend you disable voicemail. If you enable telephony on your room resource account, disable voicemail, because who's checking the voicemail? Somebody thinks they're leaving a message, nobody ever gets it. So just simple things like that we've added to this article.
Yeah. Again, another good addition to the article and everything else. Like Michael said, if you haven't been to the Bible that we sort of dictate on our show every single month, the Docs articles for these things, it's a little bit redone. It's a little bit more recent. There's some really good things in there that we've all been asked over the years.
And definitively, this was reviewed by the product group, so I don't just sit there and write this. I'm not in engineering. I'm just a guy. They called out, hey, we get asked this a lot. Can you add this to the article? Can you add this to the article? So if you haven't looked at it, just scan through, you may see, oh, Microsoft recommends this now, or this finally got added. Customers have been saying, show me an official article that says Microsoft recommends you create resource accounts in the cloud as opposed to on premises. It's in the article.
And when you look at the articles, at the top it shows the article date when it was last updated, so you know it's recent, i.e. 2 days ago. This was updated in March on there. So next up, we're talking about devices. What has been launched in the past month?
We have some great new partners. We have some new devices that are there. As always with Microsoft, when we go ahead and we certify devices, we look for the best in breed and those that have unique qualities to them. And Yamaha was one of them that actually got certified this month. There's actually a great thing that got partners and partners and partners together in channel to sort of put together something with Yamaha and Lenovo. If you've seen that, I think is that in the slides ahead. But Yamaha's got a nice ceiling microphone and speaker solution that actually is now Teams certified and Teams enable. So if you've got something inside of your room from Yamaha, or if you're doing a new room, these are some new devices that are available.
I didn't see this coming.
I didn't see it either. I'll be honest with you. I was sort of walking around and I saw the announcement of Lenovo and I said, wait a minute, is Yamaha certified? And I went to the page.
Yeah.
Sure enough, Yamaha was certified. So I wasn't expecting this.
So this is to compete with Shure IntelliMix, Shure P300, Biam.
Yeah, that's on the next slide.
Yeah. And everybody's got their favorite audio solution and everything together. And like I said, I mean, this is great to see partners coming to partners and coming to partners and coming together in channels so that it's easier for customers to say, hey, I want a large room system. Here you see the Aver with the Yamaha and the Lenovo system. So there's a lot of things that are there.
So yeah, great. Like pick a mix. Sweet. Pick the pieces you want.
Go ahead and pick the pieces
Best
that you
of
want.
breed.
Best of breed.
Yeah.
Unlike other vendors here, you can pick from other vendors.
Sennheiser, I don't know if Charlie's here at the show. Charlie, I'm sorry I didn't reach out to you, but our friends at Sennheiser actually have one of the new intelligent speaker category devices that's there. And I haven't got my hands on it yet, but I've heard good things about this.
So this is using that intelligent capture, live transcription, all that goodness when it comes. It is now being released outside of US, isn't it?
Correct.
Other languages, like 10 other languages or 7 or something.
Yep, that was like a this week announcement.
Yeah.
Or late last week.
Correct.
So this guy can do 3.5 meter radius pickup, 7 microphones built in there, And you know, again, this is only working on Windows today. Teams Room's on Windows.
Correct.
Correct.
So don't forget
Correct.
that.
That's an important part of the category, is that there are devices that are specific to the platform that it's actually on. But if you look at this and you look at Intelligent Speaker, it's the kind of thing, I mean, Michael, Graham, and I are sitting here. How do you know that Jimmy's talking? How do you know that Graham is talking? These are the kind of solutions that we're bringing into the conference room to really solve those common problems, so that when somebody were to go back to the transcripts and look at things, who said what?
We can blame Jimmy.
I never said it. We always say Jimmy said it, and then I said it. I'm like, oh man.
Well, we know that Jimmy likes to talk. I mean, that's why everybody's shocked on Fridays that I can keep it to 10 minutes long. So.
And you know, there's the device on the table. There is a power box that goes underneath there. Then that will connect to the MTR, I guess, through USB.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I say that. I based off the other one I have from ePause.
Yeah.
It comes, power, then it splits to USB. Yeah. There's a little USB power injector thing.
Can we have a history lesson? Difference between EPOS and Sennheiser? We've got too long.
We don't have that kind of time, but Sennheiser spun off the business division to ePause. And then interesting, Sennheiser's back in the business division, so.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Again, another product that's been working well with other MTR OEMs like Logitech and Poly is this room control. And so Extron are now certified, along with others like Spatial. They've got CD speakers here. So again, like you said, that best of breed.
Expanding, best of breed. You know, I'm gonna guess that the product group saw a need out in the field and had a bunch of customers that were requesting products. Again, a unique solution, but best in breed for what it does. Going out and certifying solutions. So congratulations to the new partner Extron, a whole bunch of stuff. I know that they've got, like you said, the partnerships with Logitech and Lenovo and others, putting together a full solution for those larger rooms.
And I guess a lot of this is driven by customer demand. Going to the product group and saying, hey, we use this globally.
Some of it is. Some of it is. The other part of it is a lot of partners will actually come and they'll say, I've got a unique thing. You know, when you come to Microsoft and you say, I've got a camera. Well, what's unique about that camera? And what's there? And why would Microsoft really look at this and say, our customers are going to get the certified experience and the best experience from this device? A camera could just be another camera. But if we look at things and we look at the customers that are using it, what's unique and what's there, that's really going to benefit everybody when they enter that team.
So actually, Tom just put in the chat, he's got a Sennheiser Team Connect device coming to test. So that
It does.
Interesting to see. Yeah.
Good, Tom.
Get his, review on that one.
Hi, Tom.
I think I gave his name. So thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Tom.
All right,
thank
so
you, everybody.
Surface Hub 2 smart camera. This thing came like kind of out of nowhere. I found out.
I heard today.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years in the making.
Yes, there's a
Yes.
great article by The Verge, which I saw last night, so we didn't have time to update the slides.
I'll put it in the chat.
If you can find that Verge article, they really break down what about it. I found out about, and again, I'm not on the Surface Hub team, I'm not in engineering, but I found out about it last week when I was in a call with one of the guys on the Surface Hub team, like, hey, have you seen this camera? I'm like, what's that? It gets released next week. Don't tell anyone or we'll execute you. So I didn't tell anyone. So the Surface Hub camera was always a small webcam, right? Pretty simple webcam device, nothing special. The new Surface Hub 2 smart camera, it'll work on the 85-inch and the, 65-inch, 55-inch?
50.5.
50
approximately.
50, whatever, the small one. So it'll work with either one. It'll come in the box with any new 85-inch ones. You get it in the box. But the whole point is, what makes it smart is that, say the three of us are standing here. I'm standing up at the Surface Hub, right? Let's get this neat board to reframe me. I'm standing at the Surface Hub. Everyone else is, in the image as well. So we have depth. There's no fisheye effect. We, through AI, remove the fisheye and bowl effect. We flatten everything out so it looks like a really natural experience on a Surface Hub 2 camera. So there's a lot to it. Read the Verge article for the details. But that was just released, like announced this week.
And I was surprised to see that they actually have some of the marketing material with Surface devices. So it's not unique to the Surface Hub as well.
So the article, so they asked in the Verge article, they asked specifically, can it be used with everything else? The guy, thank God, they honestly, yes.
Yeah.
But the entire optics and everything were designed to be on however many, like 2 meters off the ground and centralized with people close and distant, not designed for eye level on a laptop or on a desktop. So
that's a great thing to understand, because like I said, I saw the marketing article and I'm like, oh, it's just a Surface camera that can actually be used on a device.
So don't think that this is a Surface camera that you can upgrade your home PC.
It's, I think, $799.
$7.99 US retail.
Interesting. So available now, shipping soon.
I believe it's available now and shipping.
Yeah, good stuff. Next up,
Oh, who are these people? What Neat?
No
What
idea.
kind of name? Who would use a Neat device,
I mean,
especially in a Teams
I know,
Nation,
yeah.
a major international Teams conference, and we're just going to run out something that was just certified Friday
In a booth.
yeah,
in a booth?
In a booth in
On
the
Wi-Fi.
open air. In
With
the open
background
air on
noise.
Wi-Fi, right?
Terrible decision. I don't know who these people are that think they can. Oh wait, we're pulling it off, aren't we?
crazy Norwegians. That's what we are.
Crazy Norwegians. Go ahead. Take the mic.
Let's thank Neat for the use of the space today for the show that we're doing here on Teams Nation and everything. But also, yeah, congratulations, Grandma. There were a whole bunch of pictures last night.
Yeah.
We had a little party, and Neat was certified for their devices.
So yeah, this is wave one of devices. So what we're on now is a Neat board, which you see on the left, 65-inch display, all in one. These are all.
I wish I could hold up a mirror right now.
I know,
so that I
right?
could
So you can see exactly what
see
we're
what we were
looking at.
seeing.
MTR on Android. They're all Android-based devices. So there's the keynote on Tuesday with Nicole.
Yes.
She announced this whole new device category. So we're one of them, but Neat, we're the first to market, available now. Yealink are bringing out a version or variant too, and there's going to be more, I'm sure. And that's what Sandy said last night over dinner. She was saying, you need to build multiple OEMs because it creates demand for everyone.
Correct.
It gives people choice.
Correct.
So this is, again, use it, walk up. Now the biggest question, as everyone will ask, is how do I compare this to a Surface Hub?
How do I compare this to a Surface Hub? Because for those who are watching, we're using the device in that teal window with the screen and the rolling cart. That's what we're talking.
That's
to
what
you
we're
on.
looking at. Yeah.
But that's a Surface Hub, man. And does this have the Surface Hub 2S camera?
No, it has the Neat camera and it's built in. You can't take it home. So what we've got, this is a new category, and I guess there's going to be lots of questions around it.
And it is the first question. How does this compare to Surface Hub? But I think it's an unfair question.
Yeah.
too,
It's completely
to be
different.
honest.
Different
Correct.
device category. It's like a telephone versus a video phone. They do different things.
Correct.
And yes, I'm sure there'll be articles and blogs on people comparing them or customers, partners testing them.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to see.
It makes as much sense as comparing a Surface Pro versus an iPad because that article was there so often. I'm like, the iPad is great, and this is the Neat is essentially the iPad. It's focused on doing one thing, doing one thing extremely well, but you can't sign in as an end user. You can't run apps on it. There's no app store. There's no you can't launch PowerPoint on it.
It's like a standard and pro. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And there's a price difference, of course.
But I think you guys can see. I mean, it's great inside of a meeting. What did
Yeah.
we do? We walked up to this thing. We actually
Proximity joined.
and
Proximity
we
joined.
We did everything that you know on an MTR. I shouldn't say MTR because we're not allowed to say it. Microsoft
Teams rooms on Android.
Teams rooms on Android.
Technically, Teams
we
rooms.
did everything that we would do on a traditional unit, and it's an all-in-one.
Yep.
So it's a great
Simple to
solution.
deploy. So yeah, that's a new option out there.
It's got this awesome camera where we're all in our own little zooms out. So as we walk around, it frames us.
And that's an important distinction that I wrote a blog about. I don't know if we spoke about the blog, but the difference between front row and intelligent camera. And I've got the intelligent camera blog up to talk about the difference between what you're seeing right now, which is compositing, and what will be coming in the smart camera category, where individual streams will actually be sent through the Teams channel. So while you're seeing us here in one window, all three of us, this is going to expand in the future to actually bring you 3 different images. So there'll be Michael, Graham, and Jimmy all in their individual planes of windows, identified as us individually, and that's where this category is going. So right now, people like Neat and other OEMs, they can do this compositing, but this isn't where we're stopping, and this isn't where that
This is phase one.
This is phase one of that intelligent camera solutions that a lot of people are looking at and saying, hey, I've heard about front row, I've heard about intelligent camera, I've heard about everybody getting their own square, but let's make sure that we're using all of this terminology and the integration of it correctly.
So Mark's put a good question in there. For this is Neat Symmetry. That's what our name is for this technology. And Mark said, does this require a premium license? So this doesn't, because Neat's doing a hardware level image capture.
Correct.
What you talked about with intelligent video and segmenting everyone out, DBC?
It may require a premium
We don't
license.
know.
One of the things that Microsoft is very clear upon in the guidance, and if you look at the the information that's actually on the licensing page right now. What they're giving guidance to right now is actually don't use your E3 or your E5 license.
Use your room license.
Look at a room license, because features like intelligent camera and some of the things in the future will be tied to certain room licenses only. So while intelligent camera category hasn't been announced yet, it may come with a premium license because it is an upgraded feature that might add value to the customers that are using it. Make sure that you have a rooms license, because if it's not in the premium and you have a personal license, that's going to change the name of the game, like we do with Android. Android has a different experience. Michael, you did a whole video
and I wrote the article. There's a Docs article that hit
everything about the difference between why a personal license and a shared room license act differently on the Android platform.
And also now with the license you get is your P1. Did we cover that? I can't remember. But then
Everything you need.
Yeah.
Everything you need for the room systems is now inside of those licenses.
So the next device to certify was the Neat bar and pad that you see in the middle. So that's a device for a single or dual display.
long enough.
Here's one you made earlier. So it's an 8-inch touch control, PoE connected on the tabletop. Then Neat bar does the exact same symmetry features like this, all in one, no extra mics or anything else. Everything is designed and built to be simple and neat. And then the same pad can also be then used as a Teams panel outside the room, supporting the line of business apps, the new features such as check-in.
Michael's knocking down the set.
My demo dolly over here.
Yeah.
So Teams panel, do that, all those new things, check in, and then because we're all Android, we'll get that notification. I think we've got a slide coming up on that as well, about these new features on Teams panel. So, and again, everything in the box is included for the bar or the pads to mount.
I'm not smarter than a chair.
You can't take him anywhere.
It's having a child here, isn't it? So yeah, everything's included when you turn up to put it in, install it. Everything's included in the box to mount on a wall, etc. Upside down, turn it around, etc. It all supports. So that is wave 1 of certification. We're now focusing on wave 2, which is Bar Pro, the big boy, which is designed for larger rooms. This is certified for small rooms. It will go through certification for medium as well, and then Bar Pro will go to medium and large rooms. So that will do up to 11 meters of pickup for video and audio. The board and bar will go up to about 5 meters pickup. Translate that to 15 feet for anyone else. So yeah, and then finally we have a new device in the Teams display category that Michael is showing over there. That is a very early preview that we're allowed to show.
And I'm too far away. It cuts me
So
off.
that's another clever thing. We have got boundaries, so we can block people out as well behind us. But that's Teams display, and it's running a new software, a new category, and again, much announced on Ignite last year actually, when they showed all these. There's going to be other categories, other devices in this category, but different formats, giving people choice. So being able to do a full Teams experience on the display. That's a 15.6 inch, 9x16, and the video looks great. I'll post some pictures in the chat in a second. So question here from Patrick: any rechargeable wireless pads on the roadmap? I'll use, I think, Ilya's term. Pads should be wired. You do not want them failing. If it fails, you can't start your call unless you've got a board.
But even your Teams rooms, I know that we're doing this here on Wi-Fi and everything else, but you don't want to put it in a conference room really and subject it to a wireless network at this point. Wireless networks are great for things, but what happens when the wireless goes down? We do recommend it. If you look at all the docs articles and everything else, there is make sure that there's a wire to your team.
The other thing is, and based off our experience with smart docks and other industry experiences with batteries and devices, they swell, they are fire hazards, the batteries after time have to be replaced anyway. So we're trying to avoid premature damage to battery swelling or screen swelling or fire damage or any of those kind of things.
I think the answer to the question really is
no.
Too long, don't read. No.
I think it's just, it's what it is. So
another question actually from Doug, actually, it's a good question, is, can I whiteboard on here? Of course you can. On the Neat bar, you can connect it to a touchscreen if you've got like an avatar in your room already. USB cable, tether, like you do with a Windows MTR. Neat board, you can do whiteboarding as well. However, today you must start that meeting. It is coming. If you zoom in on that photo at a later date, the product shot's official. There is a whiteboard button. It's coming.
But you know why?
It's coming.
And you know, let's talk about the why. Why is the whiteboard not something that you can launch from this device? And the reason is why. It's because these devices are actually signed in as a shared user, and that shared user may not own that whiteboard inside of their identity. So by launching it under Jimmy, under Michael, under Graham, under something that has an identity to it, now not everybody can see your whiteboard. What would be the worst whiteboard experience? I launch a whiteboard inside of the room. Hey, the next meeting, look at all the confidential data from the previous meeting that was in there, because nobody actually owns that whiteboard. So by launching that whiteboard in an identity, all of the teams or devices can participate in that if you've got a front of room touchscreen, but it's identified and owned by that person and not the shared device.
So a lot of internal engineering to fix that, but it's coming.
Indeed. So let's just quickly jump to this slide. It'll be hidden, but we'll show it now. Going back to what you mentioned about licensing. Get it right now, and you won't have a headache when new services or features might be released.
And I think partners have been asking for this sort of guidance for a long time. Why do you guys say use a Teams room license? Why don't you make people and enforce this?
Yeah.
And right now we're not going to enforce it. We're just sort of putting up this note, but this note is something that's new. If you look at the bottom of the page there, just sort of giving guidance to those customers that you guys are dealing with to sort of say, make sure that you're using a Teams room license. We don't know where this will go in the future, but at the same point, if you're assigning E3 and E5 licenses to these devices, expect that at some point in the future, you may want to put in a standard or premium license. So don't wait to the last minute to do it.
And so, like, this is a docs update where we've added this note. Not all of the docs updates will make all the customers totally happy, but it is relatively soft language at this point where we're not saying you have to change today, but to be compliant with future changes. As your EA agreements expire and you renew new contracts, you overbought too many E3s, fine, you're using on Teams rooms today, migrate those to the less expensive Teams rooms licenses for, and here's the list: Surface Hub, Teams rooms Android, Teams rooms on Windows, hot desking on Teams display. Those all need, so there's more and more devices, more and more use cases on devices where we recommend the Teams rooms license.
So I think a topic that's going to go on for months and months and months.
I'm doing an episode with Michelle over in Europe actually on Monday, and we're going to talk about some of these new Teams room enhancement features that are here. I am in love with some of the guidance that we have on that picture that you showed before.
Yeah, but you started pimping yourself before we had this like 2 slides later. You started pimping yourself.
I know. But if we go back to this slide before, you're going to see I'm not practiced on which slides are here, and I'm usually looking. Listen, we're in person. I'm usually at my desk where I can see the next slide and I actually lead up to it. But if we look at the picture actually in the guidance that's here, this is an interesting solution, because if you look at what we have a couple of short throw projectors that are probably below that Jobber Panacast bar, capturing the 180-degree field of view of that panoramic room type of furniture. So it's an interesting thing that we can sort of put forward and say, these are the kind of rooms that will start to look a little bit more like the front row and give you that sort of image.
So one question here would be, is this running an installed audio? Because obviously I don't think the audio in that bar will be enough on it.
I think it might be enough, but if you look at spatial audio, you might want a little bit more separation.
Yeah. So
that might be something that you look at, where you look at overhead speakers or overhead microphones and things like that, but you're using that panoramic 180-degree field of view or wide angle field of view. But designing the room, I think one of the things that I saw Greg Jeffries actually mention the other day was, let's not just look at this room and say, I want to build this exact room.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that the room is taking the guidance that we're sort of putting out as Microsoft itself and sort of adapting to the guidance, such as cameras at eye level, so that when I gaze, I'm looking at that gallery. You can see from the image itself. When I'm sitting down, I will have a direct eye gaze with that gallery itself. Spatial audio, making sure that the audio is actually separated, so that when we put in the feature of the audio coming out of the left-hand side of the speaker, meetings get a little bit easier that way.
I think one thing we need to point out here is that you don't have to do every room like this to get this around.
No, this is.
We can do it on a 50-inch screen.
Jared Spataro did an interview the other day, which was actually really interesting. And one of the key things that I took away is guidance towards a good, better, best.
Yeah.
And a guidance towards let's look at rooms. Well, what are the best rooms? The best rooms might be one out of every 30 or 40 rooms that you have, and that might be something that we're looking at here. But the good rooms are things that we can put in quickly and put in and enable teams so that when people come back to the office, they're not looking for a room to sort of do things. All three of us had the conversations for like a week before this. Where are we doing this from? How are we going to do this? You know, and that's not a great experience if you're going back to the office and you're going to have those conversations.
The other thing about front row, and you apply to it, it's not applicable in every situation.
Correct.
So don't think you have to put front row in every room. There's no plan right now to put it on Surface Hub because Surface Hub is not designed like this board. We're sitting here, we're watching a board. Surface Hub is meant to interact. So where are these videos going to be? At the bottom, taking up space from the whiteboard. So Surface Hub is an example. Yes, it runs Teams rooms, but they have not enabled front row, and they don't currently plan to enable front row. If it's a use case, give us the feedback. They can enable it if enough people want it. But there's also small rooms, 1 or 2 people, huddle rooms, 3, 4. Front row probably doesn't make a lot of sense because you're in those rooms not having like a board meeting, but working on a PowerPoint document or something. So you want to see maximum content. Yeah, because if you look at the front row, that Fabricam Van Arsdale is only maybe a third of the screen, a quarter.
Yeah.
But if we're actually working on PowerPoint, get rid of front row. Let's make that full screen.
Yeah.
And let's start working on our presentations with a large screen, not with all this other stuff meant for a different type of meeting.
I think the only concern here, you know, if you are going to design rooms like this, think of that, is it going to be a multi-purpose room?
Yeah.
Can I sit around the other side? This brings me back to my nightmares of, you know, telepresence.
Yeah.
There's a dedicated room that only execs used.
Correct. There's a whole bunch of things that are into consideration, and you don't want to shoehorn this into just this solution. I think another thing that was announced, I don't think we have a slide for it, is actually front row is in now Teams Admin Center.
Yes. Ilya posted the other day. You can enable it and push that XML down to your Windows devices.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to enable and disable.
And I believe it's coming to Android at a later point.
It is. We announced it actually in a blog post. If you read through the blog post, it's the first time that we've publicly acknowledged. And people ask, why isn't it in the roadmap? Why don't I see it actually on the roadmap? And one of the things that we've gotten from the product group here is that they don't like to put things on the roadmap that's so far out that it's not in a ring yet. Because it's one of the things that you have to take with a grain of salt. If you put it on a roadmap, customers are going to go, well, I want this now, I want this now, and I want this now. But if you miss it, and you put a date to it and everything else, then they're upset. So they're trying to do a little bit
everyone.
A little bit more considerate and sort of, hey, we're talking about this, but we're not actually going to put a date on it right now.
So Doug asked the question in chat real quick on front row. One, I didn't help at all on the docs articles for front row, and you love them, so I can't take any credit. So I don't like that comment.
I did.
You did?
I did.
So Jimmy did. Okay, so Jimmy gets it. So now I like the comment again. With spatial audio config, can you call out which audio solution supports stereo for it? I don't think we have put out a list yet or tested that.
Spatial audio isn't something that's actually out yet. It's something that we're talking about. But what you're going to see is if you've got a Teams room system and that's got a stereo device to it, you will have separation of left and right. Now, how far apart are they? And can my ear actually distinguish that? Those are the kind of things that we're going to give guidance to and we're going to do in the future once we get all of that sort of on the back end figured out. If you've seen the pictures of the Hive, we're testing, we're making sure that everything's sort of out there. That's why you see these things with front row coming out in preview. That's why you see all of this sort of there.
They're changing over time.
Tested it, correct, and made sure that things are working before we get them out to the GA side.
So next up, we have a series of partner boot camps. So if you're a Microsoft partner, you can register. I'll drop the link in the chat.
The guy to the right is done.
And I believe, this is global.
I shouldn't say that. People might not attend.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mike
might do it.
I am offloading some of my modules. I'm outsourcing to probably Martin Bowen.
Okay.
I'm outsourcing some of them, so you don't get like what is it, 12 hours of me. You get like 10 hours of me and 2 hours of Martin. So yeah, this is the third time I've been involved with the Teams Rooms Partner Bootcamp. Day one is about selling. So for all of you that are partners, get your sales team and technical sales and all that for day 1. Day 2, day 3, and day 4 are 300 level on 2 days on Teams Rooms Windows, 1 on Android devices. All the content has been updated, so if you went last year, yeah, 90% is going to be the same, right? Teams Rooms Windows is roughly the same. There's a couple new features, but we've redone the decks, we've reorganized some things, and then screenshots are updated, which is a pain. And then I do, as I go through the training now, because I did this internally within Microsoft, so people have seen this training already. They also saw it like 6 months ago. So I do point out, hey, if you're ready, hey, if you're kind of not paying attention, right, you're multitasking while this is going on, here's something new that maybe you need to pay attention to. So I'll try to call that out. So if you've been to these before, multitask if you must, but I keep your ear out for it. Hey, there's some new stuff. Oh, what's the new stuff?
You need a buzzword, Cheetos.
Flaming Hot Cheetos. I'm at a conference. I have to bring Flaming Hot Cheetos. I have been asked. I thought I had them yesterday. Somebody asked for them, but I didn't have my backpack. I only brought one bag because I'm not speaking, so I don't have to get prizes out to keep people entertained.
I will say this: I've been through the other boot camps; they are well worthwhile. And even when I did go through them, every time that I sort of review things and I go through it, I always learn something new. There's always a Flaming Hot Cheeto.
The Flaming Hot. You want a Flaming Hot Cheeto?
I do not. It's very early in
Try
the
one.
morning here. By the way, I am not trade show ready yet. I'm flying home right after this. But oh yeah.
They're good.
They're good.
So
Where's the water?
In the fire hose.
Monday, I'll be talking to Michelle. Michelle and I will actually be going over a whole bunch of different things on the front row guidance. If front row is something that you're talking to customers about, join. Have the questions ready. Bring them to us and everything else. But we'll be talking about some of that new guidance that's actually out in the dots.
And those wake up the taste buds, don't they?
Yeah.
Those wake you up.
So, Teams panel update. So if you're rolling these out, this is rolling out slowly. Someone said this morning they're not seeing it on certain vendors, but Microsoft roll it out over time. Check your Teams admin center to see if your device needs updates.
Updates are working now very reliably in Teams Admin Center. Not that they weren't before.
They're just modified.
They're just more reliable now than they were.
So what you've got this feature now is you can check in, and when you have paired your Teams panel with your MTROA in the room, you do the same pairing between pad and your device, your bar. It's the exact same pairing, put it in your 6-digit code, and then when someone checks in, it displays this alert in the room inside. So, and then you can do an alert, say if someone doesn't check in within 5 minutes, so at 12:06 it will release the room, send the light to green again, so someone else can book it. So you can check in at 11:58 if you want. If you're at the room, you'll get the notification inside, and then hopefully they'll come out of the room. So it saves you opening the door, interrupts a meeting that's going on. So great new feature there.
Hey Graham, why'd they put a big green arrow on the interface to point to check in? You think we're dumb as we just hit check in? Microsoft not what's that green arrow? Come on, man.
So let's talk about the real reason. Ghost meetings are a problem.
I've done stuff.
If I've booked a room all day and I don't show up, how much does that cost the real estate and facilities team?
A lot.
That's
Not to mention being people who we need to meet and we can't get a room for 3 days.
Correct.
And it's like, we're just going to meet in the cafeteria and that's not optimal. We don't have devices. So then we can just sit there and go, oh, a room just freed up.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys, can we all just go real quick and then
Walk up, ad hoc reserve, boom,
like,
done.
true real things that happened in a previous life. It's like we would have loved to have grabbed a room in a hurry.
And
we
we've talked about the importance of the panel that sits outside the room. Now you're seeing the features that are coming that are really, really making this important.
And in May, I think checkout is coming. So if you finish early, you can check out, release the room, and be friendly and courteous to other users.
Knock knock is coming. So that the other thing is, people were in the meeting, but it's now 12:03. It's 3 minutes late. It's like, dudes, we're supposed to be in the meeting at noon. You can hit a button and it puts a display, a pop-up in the meeting room going, hey, people are waiting outside. Like, wrap it up, people. Which is a little passive aggressive versus just opening the door and walking in, which is usually happens. Like, hey, at the time, we've given an extra 3 minutes. So it's a politer way of
this can
doing
be
the same
configured through Teams Admin Center now as well. So you can define your 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes check-in timer. And new wallpapers. These are the 5 new defaults that you will get on panels and rooms. Teams display.
Hot desking with Teams display. It's going to be super useful with. I'm showing my shoulder. You don't see it, but the Neat frame. Basically, it is a scheduling solution. There, I have a video, so we're running low on time. So I will say, if you're interested in Teams display, again, if you haven't been paying attention to Teams display, it's time to start paying attention. new features are coming out, and brand new devices from our friends at Neat and Yelling are coming imminently in the next few months.
The big ask, it disappeared, it came back. Teams casting.
Did it? It's
It's
but
back.
It's, there,
It's GA.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
it's GA.
GA.
I've seen non-Microsoft people post on it. Randy Chapman posted on it.
No, that's in Ring 3.
Oh, is he? Yeah, but he posted publicly, so he's not allowed to do that.
Accidentally.
Oh, was that accidentally?
I don't know. I'm making it.
Okay, you're making it up. Regardless, any day now. It says March 2022, so we got
a few more days.
We got a week. Within a week, casting from Windows. You can already do it from iOS and Android.
If you don't know what casting is, make sure you look it up because it's actually a really great feature that a lot of people sort of add other devices that capture.
We've had it from mobile,
Correct.
tablets for a while. Now
And
it's
it-
come to the desktop for Windows and Mac.
Correct.
That's first.
Correct.
Feature parity.
Yeah.
Correct.
Love it.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Well, we've covered most of this.
Did we miss anything?
You know,
Oh, you can join webinars from Teams Android now.
yeah, I think one of the key things, I think someone mentioned about feature parity between Windows and Android. Split Gallery was only released in December on Windows. We've already got it now on Android. So that shows you how quick the product group are working to, give you feature parity. There will always be some slight differences.
It is.
Like, what is it, Lenovo and Shure now.
Correct.
Telemix.
Correct.
On the platform.
Correct.
Maddie hasn't cut us off already.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
With Android and Windows, if it's easier to
Don't cut
develop
us off.
on one than the other, that's the way that it sort of is. But we always want to make sure that we're getting as close as we can to both at the same time so that when users walk into the room, they're not confused over exactly what OS is inside.
Yeah, exactly. And Joel made a good point there. Yealink and Buyout partnership.
Correct.
So we've got Lenovo and Shure. You've got Casper and Shure. You now got Yealink and Buyout. So again, choice, shopping list.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shopping list, the best in breed, and great to see the partners actually coming together and making it easy for the customers to say, hey, this is the package that I want to purchase.
How do we do this on time?
We did really well. We usually go for about an hour and a half.
If you like this, I think you got to give us feedback. Rate this session. Give us good stuff. Maybe they'll invite us back next year. Maybe they won't.
I don't think they have a question like rate each speaker, Jimmy, because I wasn't on the speaker list, so you can't like 1-star me and 5-star them. So,
I
sorry.
really don't. I don't think they're gonna. We got invited back this year. Happy to be here at Teams Nation. Thank you to Teams Nation and everybody who's in this community. Every month we have this. Make sure you're looking us up. If you're doing Teams devices and you have questions, hit us up on public on the
We're
social
all on
media.
Yelling. We're all on Twitter.
We're all on Twitter. We're all on LinkedIn. We always answer the questions. Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate the little bit of extra time. And thank you, everybody. If you're at Enterprise Connect, my bags are packed. I'm leaving.
I'm
Michael
staying.
and Graham are
I'm
staying.
hardcore.
Come see us on the show floor. Thank you, everybody.